Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Okay, welcome back. So, now we will discuss this producer, right. Of course, we are assuming always any producer, he or she is profit maximizer only. So, targeting to maximize his profit, right. So, and that profit maximizing condition we have derived that MR equals to MC, right. So, let us plot MR curve and MC curve all in a single diagram. So, we are measuring quantity this side, okay. Say suppose for the time being we are discussing this competitive producers short run output decision or short run optimum output decision, optimum in the sense that profit maximizing output decision, okay. So, the short run, let us plot him, this is average cost curve or average total cost curve, okay. Average variable cost curve, marginal cost curve. These are the cost curves given the technology and given the factor markets whatever that producer is facing, this is the cost structure, okay. And now suppose we are plotting that this is the average revenue which is identical to price equals to marginal revenue, okay. So, in the vertical axis what we are measuring, other than quantity whatever different variables are appearing in this diagram, all we are measuring in the vertical axis, like average total cost, average variable cost, okay, marginal cost, average revenue, marginal revenue, price, everything we are measuring vertical axis, right. So, we know that to maximize profit, two condition, this is the first order condition MR equals to MC, and second order condition slope of MR or second order condition, if you can remember two conditions of profit maximization we have derived in the last video or last lecture or one lecture or some previous lecture. It is, so let us derive that again. So, profit usually denoted by pi, that is basically total revenue minus total cost, right. So, total revenue is basically price into quantity minus total cost. So, price into quantity, that I am writing revenue as a function of quantity in that way, total revenue as a function of quantity minus total cost. In any case that is a function of quantity, because all kinds of cost curves if you see that as quantity is changing they are changing. So, that is a function of quantity, right. So, to maximize profit, so optimum decision of a producer is what? To maximize profit taking quantity as the choice variable, because his or her choice what is that? How much quantity of output I will produce, that is my choice, right. So, quantity is the choice variable, okay. So, my first order condition will be del pi del q, that must be equals to 0. So, if you do that, basically that implies del Tr as a function of q del q, that must be or that minus del Tc as a function of q del q, that must be equals to 0. That implies this as we defined, that is called marginal revenue, minus this is as we defined earlier, that is called marginal cost, that equals to 0. So, this implies MR equals to MC. So, that is the first order condition or first order necessary condition for profit maximization. What is the sufficient condition or second order condition? Of course, del 2 pi del q 2, that must be less than 0. If you do that, it will be del q of MR minus del q of MC, that must be less than 0. So, this implies basically del q of MR marginal revenue curves slope of the marginal revenue curve we can think of, because horizontal axis we are measuring quantity. So, definitely this is slope of MR curve, and this thing is slope of MC curve in the same way, because horizontal axis we are measuring quantity only, right. So, this minus that less than 0. So, this must be less than slope of MC curve. So, this is the second order condition, okay, or sufficient condition for profit maximization. Look at here in this diagram, what is MR and MC, okay. So, this is the MC, this is the MR. So, MR equals to MC is where? This is the point when MR and MC are same, because at that point what is the MR value? MR value is this vertical distance. What is the MC value? Of course, that vertical distance, because that is the MC curve, okay. So, this point, this E point is satisfying first order condition for sure, MR equals to MC, okay. Does this also satisfy second order condition? So, second order condition is telling that slope of the MR line should be less than slope of the MC line. So, MR line is horizontal here. So, what is the slope of MR line? Definitely horizontal axis, what is slope? 0, and MC, what is the slope? Is positive. So, definitely at this point also slope of MR curve is less than slope of MC curve. So, this point, this E point in the diagram is not only this point is actually satisfying both the condition, both first order necessary condition and second order sufficient condition of profit maximization, okay. So, this is the equilibrium point of that producer, okay. By that what we are referring, or what we want to mean? We mean that if a producer which is operating in a competitive product market and facing this kind of red color horizontal demand curve for his product, okay, and the producer whose cost structure is given by, or whose technology side is captured by this MC, ATC and ABC curves, that producer should produce OQ star amount of output to maximize his profit. Look, this OQ star amount of output is not coming from sky. We are getting that amount of output by satisfying both the first order and second order condition of profit maximization. So, since both the conditions are satisfying there, so this points indirectly is telling that if that producer produces this much of quantity of output, okay, and sell each units of that output at this much of price, whatever which is existing in the market, right, that producer can attain the maximum profit, okay. Now, the question is how much profit he will gain in this particular case. Of course, can we show the area, or can we show the amount of profit? Look at here, he will produce this much of quantity. So, for that much of output, what is the average cost curve? Average cost curve is here, this is ATC curve, average total cost, right. So, when he is producing OQ star amount of output, per unit of output he is incurring this much of average cost. So, definitely this red color box is the total area of cost, or that area represented the amount of total cost that producer is facing, because average cost into quantity, that is the total cost, okay. And so, total cost is this box. So, I am writing, suppose this is AB and this is P star point, okay. So, OQ star BA, this rectangular area is basically total cost of that producer, okay. Alternatively, OQ star EP star, that area is basically total revenue. Why that area is total revenue? Because this much price per unit of the output he is facing in the market, and this much quantity he is selling in that market. So, that these two products, that means this area, this larger rectangular area is the total revenue. So, how much profit he is gaining? This revenue minus cost, total revenue minus cost. So, that is denoted by this shaded blue color shaded area, rectangular area is representing his profit, okay. So, how much profit a producer is getting, okay, depends on what kind of price line he faces in the market. Look, being occupying a negligible fraction or negligible share of the entire market, this producer, he or she does not have any control over the market price, what we have told earlier. That means, whatever price is prevailing in the market, he or she has to take that price. One essential criteria, one essential property of a competitive market is that everybody is price taker, because everybody means both each producer as well as each customer, because each of them are only one of the large number of buyers and large number of sellers who are there in that market, right. So, as a result, they do not have any control over the market price, and market price is determined through market demand and market supply force, and through that whatever price will prevail in that market, okay, each of them has to take that price for granted. Okay. So, that is why each buyer as well as each seller we can term in this market as price taker. Okay. Each of them has to take the price whatever is prevailing in the market, right. So, definitely whether market condition is favorable for me or not, that depends on what kind of price is there in the market, because I can't determine that price level. So, let us draw another diagram. Suppose earlier diagram whatever we have shown, there the producer, this diagram producer is getting this much of positive profit, this, okay, this rectangular area of positive profit. So, this is the short run equilibrium of that producer. What guarantees that it is a short run case? Look, average total cost and average variable cost, two different curves. Definitely then there is some fixed cost, gap of in between, their vertical gap in between them is the average fixed cost. So, definitely some total fixed cost is there, because average fixed cost is something positive. Okay. So, since there is two different curves as ATC and ABC, or in alternatively, since average total cost curve is different from average variable cost curve, this is definitely a short run case. Okay. So, this short run case in this particular producer, if this is the price line, right, he is getting some positive profit. Okay. Will it be always the situation in that market? Definitely no. Let us go to another, suppose this is the average total cost curve. Okay. This is the average variable cost curve. Of course, we are measuring quantity this side. This is the marginal cost curve, and this side all different costs, all different revenues, price, everything we are measuring. Okay. Suppose this is the price line. Okay. This is basically average revenue identical with price equals to marginal revenue in this market. Look at here, what is happening if this is the market price situation, right. Two points are there, here and here. So, suppose this is E1 point and this is E2 point. Okay. So, both this E1 and E2 point, both the points first order profit maximizing condition know that MR equals to MC, both are satisfied. Look at here at this point, E1 point. Okay. What is MC? MC is basically, this is the MC curve, right. So, MC is here. So, that height is the MC, and at that point average revenue or price equals to the same, right. MR line is same, MR also that value. So, this E1 point and E2 point both are satisfying MR equals to MC condition satisfying points. Then the question is, why not the E1 point? So, out of these 2 points, which will be the profit maximizing point for that producer who is facing this kind of revenue structure or this kind of demand curve, given this kind of cost structure? Okay. Look, the second order condition, right, second order condition is satisfying at E2 point and it is not satisfied at E1 point. Second order condition tells what? Let me repeat again, second order condition tells that slope of the MR line should be lower than the slope of the MC line. At this point, slope of the MC line is positive, slope of the MR line is horizontal, so 0. So, at this point second order condition is satisfied. Why not at this point? Look at here, at this point slope of the MR line is 0 because MR line is horizontal, but what is the slope of MC line? MC line slope, this is the MC curve, negative. Okay. So, since 0 is greater than negative, right. So, at E1 point second order condition is not satisfied. So, in this kind of diagram, okay, although E1 and E2 both the points are satisfying the first order condition, okay, one of them will be the equilibrium because second order condition is satisfied at the E2 point. Now, this first order condition, second order condition, right, understand it is a mathematical thing or the second order condition is a technicality kind of thing. Can we explain economically or logically why this E1 will not be a profit maximizing condition for that producer? Profit maximizing condition means what? If this could be E1 point, could be also a profit maximizing condition point. So, it is telling that this much output that producer should produce to maximize his profit, no. So, let us logically or economic reasoning, let us try to understand why this E1 point is not a profit maximizing point at all. Okay. See, look what is happening in between these 2 points. Suppose you are at E1 point, so you are suppose producing this much of output. Now, if you want to increase little bit output this side, if you want to go, what is happening? Marginal cost curve is there. So, additional unit, okay, say this additional unit, no, this much of marginal cost you will face. How much marginal revenue you will face? This much of marginal revenue will face. So, clearly marginal revenue is exceeding marginal cost. So, definitely that will add up to your profit. So, your profit will only increase. You can remember when we discussed in the very beginning, maybe first or second lecture, no, when we were discussing 10 principles. Okay. One principle was there, the rational people think and margin, and that time the example what we gave, that airlines example, if you can remember. Okay. And so, you were comparing that time what? That how much additional price or additional income I will get if I allow that extra customer or extra passenger, okay, and how much cost, say free lunch. So, lunch I have to give free on board, okay. So, what is the one extra lunch packet cost? So, we were comparing those two, right, and see, so long that marginal revenue or additional gain was exceeding the marginal cost, right, that cost of the lunch packet, okay, the message we get that airline company should allow that customer to board the flight, right, when vacant seat was there. So, exactly that thing is coming now. Okay. So, in between E1 to E2 point, what is happening, as you increase your production, right, as you produce more and more, every unit in between these 2 points, right, for every unit of the additional output, your MR is more than MC. Look at MC is always this kind, MC lies somewhere in this, okay, along this line, okay, but MR is always this horizontal or this vertical distance is MR. So, within this segment, within E1 and E2 point, right, for every units additional revenue or marginal revenue is exceeding marginal cost. Okay. So, it is telling that as we will produce this and this side, or indirectly telling as we produce more and more, right, our profit will increase only, right. So, that is why from not only the second order mathematical condition is satisfied, is not satisfying at E1 point and only satisfying at E2 point, okay, that second order mathematical condition, right, that we are trying to understand here, or we have understood here rather using logical sense, logical reasoning, right. So, customer or that producer should not stop production at E1 point, rather he should produce until E2 point. Why not after E2 point? Look at here, at E2 point MR and MC are same. If you want to increase further production in this side, okay, look at here, MC is exceeding MR, MC is more than MR. So, definitely that will pull down your profit, okay, because marginal cost is exceeding your marginal revenue. right. So, you should not. So, that is why he will stop at E2 point. Okay. So, that is the thing. So, if this is the case, what will be the say, producer if he faces this kind of demand curve, okay, this horizontal line, okay, and this is the cost structure is given, how much profit he will earn, definitely in this case, because this is the OQ star amount, okay, this is the OQ star amount, the profit maximizing output quantity he should produce, okay. How much profit he will gain at that output level, right. This is the price, okay. So, total revenue will be price into quantity. So, this area will be the total revenue. What will be the total cost until that output? This is the average total cost line, look at here, that is the average total cost line, right, average total cost line. So, this is the total cost, okay. So, average total cost. So, this area is the total cost, because this is the average total cost into this is the output. So, this area. So, profit will be this green shaded area, okay, positive profit. Now, let us try to understand, okay, in the short run this kind of producer will get always positive profit. Can their profit be negative? Because where the demand curve will be, this producer does not have any control over that. If he faces this kind of demand curve, he will be more happy, because he will produce until that, and this is ATC curve, this much total profit he will gain, even larger amount of total profit he will gain, positive profit he will gain, he will be happy only. If even higher price, he will be more happy, like that. If price is below, okay. So, if I compare when this is the price line vis-a-vis this is the price line, definitely he is less happy at this point vis-a-vis that price line, right. So, now the question is, to what extent he should be less happy, but still tolerate, still produce in the market, okay. Let us search for that condition. Let us go to another new diagram, okay. Suppose this is the case, average total cost curve, average variable cost curve, marginal cost curve, average revenue identical with price equals to marginal revenue, quantity you are measuring here, all costs and revenue you are measuring vertical axis, right. Suppose this is the price line, because where is the price line, I am repeating again and again, where is the price line, being a single producer I do not have any control, price line may be here, maybe here, maybe here. Suppose this is the price line, okay, what will happen. So, this price line is telling that this is the point where both MR and MC are equal and the second order condition is also satisfied, rather or MC curve slope is steeper than the MR curve slope, okay. So, this is telling that O, suppose this is Q1, O Q1 should be the profit maximizing quantity of output that producer should produce, who is facing this kind of cost structure and this kind of demand curve for his product in the market, right. So, what will be his profit in that case? Profit will be, look at here, at that quantity, this is the price, this is the price. What is the average total cost? Average total cost is this. This is the average total cost per unit of output, okay. So, how much total cost? So, total cost is actually, so total revenue in this case, this red box is total revenue and this green box is total cost, okay. So, how much profit that producer is getting then? This small rectangular area with a negative sign, right, because revenue or total cost is exceeding total revenue, right. Now, let us ask a question to ourselves, should this producer to produce at all, okay, he is getting negative profit, right, should he produce at all, okay. So, what question to answer this question, how we should proceed or how we should think? Many of you people perhaps getting an impression now that no sir, he should not produce output at this level because profit is going to be negative. Why? He knowingly he will produce, he can stop production, right. Look at here, what is his opportunity here? If he at all produce, he should produce this amount of output, because by producing that much of output he could maximize his profit, whatever profit he could earn. That maximum amount unfortunately in this particular case is negative. Okay. What is his opportunity? Opportunity is there, if he do not produce this much he should stop production. So, opportunity is without producing that, if I produce 0 amount of output, if I produce 0 amount of output, how much total cost I will face? Definitely total fixed cost I will face, right. And if I produce this amount of output, how much total cost I am getting? Total fixed cost plus total variable cost, whatever I am getting, right. Look at here, this is the ATC curve, okay, and this is the AVC curve, right. So, the gap between ATC curve and AVC curve is the average fixed cost, right. So, this quantity when he is producing, this is the average total cost and this is the average variable cost. So, definitely this is the average fixed cost if he produced OQ1 amount of output. So, if I take this area, say in this particular case, say M in say this is M N K T. So, M N K T, M N K T, this rectangular area in the diagram is basically his total fixed cost. Look at here, if he stop production, he has to incur entire fixed cost, because this is a short run situation, right. So, that time what will be his profit? His profit will be, he is stopping production. So, his output quantity is 0. So, total revenue will be price into 0 equals to 0. So, his total revenue is 0 minus total cost. So, total revenue is 0 minus this is the total cost, this is total revenue and total cost is this, right. So, his total profits will be this entire area with a negative sign. By producing this much, his total profit is this entire area with a negative sign. So, definitely by producing something he is reducing his loss, okay, he could reduce his loss. So, although this case quite unfortunate to that producer, because the price level what is that in the market, that is allowing him, given his cost structure, is allowing him only to get some negative profit if he produce. But although profit is negative, he should not stop production, because if he stop production he will incur more loss than the amount of loss he is incurring by producing OQ1 amount of output. Okay. So, he should not stop production, he should produce. Okay. Now, the question is to what extent he should produce. Okay. If price level even below, he should he produce. Okay. Let us quickly answer that question and then we will stop. Okay. So, suppose if he produce something, okay, his total profit is basically total fixed cost plus total variable cost, and these two things revenue minus that is his profit if he produce, right. And if he do not produce, right, then his total cost is TFC, because if he do not produce there is no variable cost, only total fixed cost, right. So, that total fixed cost will be total cost in that case, right. So, he will stop production when this is the situation. Okay. Total fixed cost is more than this entire thing. Okay. So, that means what? That means, so revenue minus total variable cost is less than 0, right, or revenue should be less than total variable cost, or if I divide both sides by quantity, revenue by Q should be less than total variable cost by Q. Okay. this is giving you revenue by Q is basically price, okay. Okay. This less than total variable cost by Q is basically average variable cost, the way we have defined. So, if price goes below the average variable cost line, then he should stop in the short run. Okay. So, in the earlier diagram, look at here, this is the average variable cost line. Okay. So, if price line somehow goes, this is the lowest point of the average variable cost line. Okay. If price line somehow goes below this point, okay, below this level, then he should stop production, because even in that case if he produce, he should incur more loss than the total fixed cost. So, definitely he should stop production to incur only total fixed cost. Okay. So, what we are telling, in the short run, by virtue of the fact that the producer has to face some fixed cost, because it is a short run case. Okay. Even under certain situation, if price level goes below to some below level where the price situation is not that much fortunate for the producer, right, and he has to incur some loss, still he should continue production, okay, because by producing he can reduce his loss. But of course, he will, the question is how long he will tolerate this loss. So long the price is above average variable cost curve line, okay, that until that point he should tolerate the negative profit. But if somehow price goes below the average variable cost, he should not tolerate anymore, he should stop production in the short run. Okay. So, let us stop here. Tomorrow or in our next lecture, okay, we will discuss more elaborately how this producer's supply curve look like and also. Okay. Let us stop here.